Okay, so this is a CM4 XGO, which is a robot dog from Elecfreaks. It is super impressive. I've been playing around with it. The computational power comes from a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4, so there's one of those already installed in the screen. And if I get close to it, you'll see what happens when it recognises my face. So you can see it's face tracking now, and if I move around, it will track me. It's really agile, really strong, it moves around incredibly well. But let's try some of the other features that it's got. So it's switched on at the moment. If I was to switch it off, you'll see that it goes into this state, which basically means that you can pick it up and pop it into its carry case that it comes with, and it fits in perfectly, and you can just close the lid and you're off. But also, if I was to take it out and pop it down, just press the button on the back and it springs to life really quickly, retracts its little arm there, and then boots up the CM4 to give you a menu which is, well, it's got a demo in there as standard, but it is remote control, so you can use a smartphone to control it, but you can also fully program it to do various different tasks. But I do love the fact that you've got basically 4 buttons here on the sides. So if I press this button, this will toggle through to remote control, program and try demo. Press the bottom one to select. And here we've got various different modes. And of the demos we've got show, group, mask, hands, teach, segment, face track, pose, QR code, speech, color and height. And we also have on the next page YOLO, 5G, SSID, burn, network, language, volume and device. So let's start the demo. I've given it a bit of room on the floor here because it does move around quite a bit. I've also muted the music, or at least put it down to 20%, because the song is really annoying. I suppose little tiny kids might enjoy it, but I'm sure this isn't a kid's toy. It's far too sophisticated for that. So you can see it walks forward, spins around super quick, doing some push-ups, rocking from side to side with some little facial expressions and things. It has so much motion and it's so stable as well. Oh, going to the toilet, shaking its leg, looking up. I haven't let this play all the way through. Look at that, one leg, waving. Kind of lying down on its front, oh, and pushing forward. A little wave. Okay, and kind of almost moonwalking. So this is the hands mode, and you can see that my hands aren't visible to the robot at the moment because they're under the counter, but if I hold up one finger, really quite quickly it reacts to me holding up a finger, and 2 fingers, and 3, and you can see that it just tells you on the screen exactly what's happening, gives you a visual representation on the screen. And if I hold up a fist, it will say stone, and it'll even try and grab something off me because it thinks I'm trying to pass something to it. I could switch it off by just pressing this bottom left hand button. Haven't tried pose yet. Okay, so this is pose, and you can see that it tracks my hands and arms, so I can hold my hand up, move my head to the side, and it's tracking me. And I guess this would be, if you were controlling it with gestures, it shows how accurate it can be from the gestures, so it's waiting for a command by a movement by you. So this is YOLO mode, and you can see that it's picked up the bottle, the refrigerator in the background. If I move the bottle out the way, it will also detect my microwave and my oven, and it detects me as a person. Very clever. So let's try and get this connected to my iPad so I can control it. So the XGO bot from the App Store, let's download that. I've already downloaded it on my phone, but I want to use my iPad. Now the instructions I'd been sent weren't particularly detailed, and I was trying to get an IP address on this little screen and couldn't manage it. I've emailed Elecfreaks to ask them. But in the meantime, I noticed that there is a little HDMI socket on the bottom of the monitor. So I thought, oh, what happens if I plug in a monitor? So I've got my WiMaxit touchscreen monitor plugged in, and to my surprise, Raspberry Pi OS just came up on the screen. So it's obviously running Raspberry Pi OS, and I can see VNC is active there on the screen. Now, I've also plugged in the supplied USB hub, which has a USB-A, in fact 4 USB-A sockets on it to be able to plug in my mouse keyboard, so you can see here. If I go into settings, because I was partly thinking, oh, maybe I've been sent a Compute Module 4 inside there without Wi-Fi, but it has got Wi-Fi because I can see it has my network on here. So I'm going to put the password in and see if that helps. Okay, let's press OK on that and see if it connects to my Wi-Fi. So it's definitely connected to my Wi-Fi, but if I turn to the little screen, you can see it says no net. So I wonder if I just need to turn that off and on again. So let's go out and in first of all, see if that makes a difference. Okay, no net. And what happens if I power down then? Okay, so that's flicked off and my monitor's flicked off. Let's switch that back on again. Whoop. I think I might lift it for this bit. There we go. So it's just booting up on the device, and you see it's just booting up. Wi-Fi is connected. So let's try that again. Yes, I have an IP address. Perfect. Well, while I'm in this, let's open a terminal and run NeoFetch if it's already installed, or install it if it's not. It's not. Sudo apt install NeoFetch. And yes. And if I run NeoFetch again, Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4, and it's a 2 gig model. This is the light model that I've got. Let's just have a quick look and see if there's any other software in there. Looks pretty standard. So let's disconnect the monitor from here and the USB-C. And now I can put in the IP address 192.168.1.51, and the iPad should be able to connect directly. Let's hit allow. Okay, so radio controlled mode, and I can see myself on the camera. Let's go backwards. That is so cool. Okay, so let's try radio control mode, and you can see that it can see my feet and my cat. So if I walk towards my cat that's eating at the moment, and I can turn right and I can turn left. Let's walk a bit closer to my cat. Oh, it's trotting at the moment. Let's go for a walk. A bit more gentle. And I'll try and do it by just looking at the screen. And I'm turning the wrong way there. No, I'm not. Let's turn right so I can go under my tripod. My cat's pretty deaf, so he's probably not worried by it, although he might get a bit startled in a minute if he turns around and sees a robot dog. And the arm I can move forward and down as if I was going to grab something. And there's a grab button, so it goes down, grabs, and then comes up again. That's cool the way it works with the camera. Oh, my cat's looking. So what can I do now? If I do pose mode, of course at the moment you can't see because I've run off the camera, so let's go backwards so you can see it on the camera. There we go, and let's try some of these pose modes. Well, let's go sideways a bit to get it on screen. And turn a bit so we're straight on, and then go pose mode and roll. You can see you can roll left and right. We can do x-axis, We can do Y-axis, and it's fast as well, really responsive with how I'm moving it. And then yaw, that's cool. So you can really dance with that. And then pitch. Let's go back and performance mode, and then we've got things like crawl, which my cat's looking at, squat, take a pee, which we've seen earlier on in the video, and then shake the leg. And there's all sorts on here, like give a stretch is probably quite cool. Yeah, so that is like a cat or a dog would do. And let's just switch back because my cat's just about to disappear. Or is it radio control mode? There you go. So you can see my cat doesn't really seem that bothered. He's looking, but he's not that bothered. So very controllable, really pleased with that. So let's go through the contents of the case. So basically the robot dog fits nicely in the case that it comes with. And when you turn it off, it basically goes into this shape, so you can just put it in. You don't have to manipulate it or anything. And this bit, which is usually this way around but all the way down, contains all the other bits in here, and they are some balls, some cubes which you can stack up, USB adapter I showed before, so this is USB-A to USB-C, a little screwdriver, a load of little screws, I guess for the joints in case any of them come loose, some silica gel, and a charger which was 8.4 volt 1 amp, and it also comes with a little micro HDMI to HDMI cable so you can plug it into a normal monitor. And the instruction book, which is pretty basic, not a lot of information in there. I didn't have the information on how to connect the Wi-Fi, but I got there in the end. PC operation, so we can go to a website and control the device from there. I'm going to try it with my iPad again. So let's try that address. So XGO CM4. So enter the IP address, which was 192.168.1.51, I think. Oh, well, maybe I have to put it into program mode first. Okay, let's try that again now it's in the right mode. And this gives you an option of being able to program it with BASIC, and it's like a drag and drop system. So what have we got on here? Let's go mini. So we've got, for instance, lie down, and then set claw. Yeah, looks pretty good, looks pretty comprehensive. So you can do that on anything with a web browser and program it to do things in order. But there is also a mode where you can program it just by manipulating the limbs in a programming mode, which was, if I go back, and it was this one here, which is teach. And you can record a series of commands and then it will follow those commands. Okay, so thanks very much to Elecfreaks for sending me this to test. It is really impressive, and I hope this helps. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.